here. Without this railway line, chances are we wouldn't have a country called Kenya. This was the first major infrastructure in the jungle that was only known as East Africa. Stretching 920 kilometers from Mombasa to Kisumu, this railway line literally created Kenya and brought civilization to the horn of the dark continent. The captivating story of the 5 years of construction of this railway has been handed down generations. Here is the story of the Uganda Railway, the story of the beginning of Kenya, a story of the opening up of East Africa to the world. The British government needed to secure Lake Victoria, the lake which waters Egypt, which was then a colony of Britain. 1896, the ambitious construction of the railway began amid criticism from some British parliamentarians. They baptized it a lunatic line.
There was a threat from the Germans who had already occupied this place here, Tanga. They were also thinking about constructing a permanent way to reach this lake. And that's why there was a race. So the idea was to bring the ships, let them land here, then move the items in for the construction. So it started, they brought lots of Indians because the British had already constructed railways successfully in India and they needed that skilled labor. Because to train the natives would have taken longer.
The first major challenge was at Tsavo.
What made them so weird was that these lions could not be killed. What was amazing about them was that they could be shot at. The bullets would get their target, but the lions would just smile and walk away. This made them, especially the Indians, were so superstitious. And they thought these lions were not actually lions. In fact, some thought that these lions could have been reincarnations of two dead African chiefs who were opposing the construction of the railway around this area.
For 3 weeks, the construction stopped as the lions terrorized railway workers. A skilled British police superintendent from Punjab joined the team. 26-year-old Charles Ryle and 2 other fighters believed they could help kill the lions. This is the coach they used. It was detached from the wagon as the men took turns to watch for the lions. But during his turn to keep vigil, Charles Ryle fell asleep. The lions seemed to know their main target. When they finally arrived, it is him, Charles Ryle, that they killed and dragged out of this window. At this point, some bit of lunacy made sense. In 3 weeks, about 140 African and Indian men were killed and eaten by the lions. But the survivors pressed on with the construction. 300 miles on, they arrived at a plain grassland, a place the Maasai community called Ewaso in Nairobi, the place of cool waters.
That building you see behind me here is where the first Nairobi station was created in 1899. When the train finally arrived from Tsavo, after the ups and downs, after the tragedy of the lions, this is where it landed. And this is where the entire administration of this country started from.
Charles Ryle's remains were buried at the War Cemetery near Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. Every June 6th, Shiraku pays his respects to a man he views as hero. Charles Ryle was also honored at the All Saints Cathedral. The coach from which he was attacked now stands at the Railway Museum. The story of the man-eaters of Tsavo fascinated the 26th President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt. He was among the first tourists to visit Kenya.
Theodore Roosevelt was the first American as an hunter to travel to this country in 1909 and made a big safari, game safari, in the Kapiti Plains. It is from there that he went back to USA and spread the word about the animals in Kenya, and thereafter it culminated to what we have today, the safaris that you see.
These 3 clothes are what remained in Kenya after the man-eaters were sold to the Field Museum in Chicago, USA in 1924. The clothes are kept under lock and key here at the Railway Museum. A foreign tourist once cut this glass and stole them from display. he was caught in Tanzania selling the clothes for several millions of shillings. Aside from the man-eating lions, the lunatic lion also gave birth to modernity wherever it called through. Have you noticed that the line crosses every major town in Kenya? And in each town, you'll find the descendants of the skilled workers from India who constructed the railway. Did you also know that this is one of the few railways that ascends thousands of meters above sea level, climbing a gradient of 60 degrees at the wall of the Rift Valley? But this one you didn't know, that you don't have to be a lunatic to take a safari on the Lunatic line. Ann Soy, KTN in Nairobi.